Hello BookTube, hello friends, welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and this is going to be part 3 in my videos about book club. If you saw the first video, it was just kind of a discussion video about the future of book club in a COVID-19 world, and then I next uploaded a video about all of the books that my regular library book club is reading this year. Now this is a video I've been wanting to do since January. I had the idea then that I should just tell you about all the books I was going to read for the year, and if you wanted to read any of them with me, then you could, and life happened and I'm just now getting it done. But it's okay. I have enjoyed some of the books. I have not enjoyed all of the books. And by doing it later in the year, it gave me a little more to talk about because I have read most of the books now, because I have read some of the books that we're discussing later in the year already. So for this video, I want to tell you about my second book club, which is a mystery book club. We started this 2 or 3 years ago. It was originally started by a library staff member, and they were just not able to follow through with facilitating it and reading all the books and everything with everything else they had to do at the library. So the librarian asked me if I would lead it because I was already an active part of our regular book club, which is led by a library staff member. And I said sure. So I have had a blast doing it. Of course, you guys know I co-created March Mystery Madness, and I love to read mysteries, although that's not the only thing I read. I do feel like I have dipped my toe into enough mysteries here and there that I could facilitate that club with some degree of something. And so I just thought it would be fun. Now, do I know everything about all mysteries? Absolutely not. In fact, if you want to know about mysteries, you should subscribe to Janelle from Too Fond of Books. She joined BookTube just in time for March Mystery Madness this year, and I'm telling you, she knows her mysteries. So hopefully Janelle will agree to be a March Mystery Madness host for next year, and I want to recommend her channel to you if you are interested in mysteries at all. So for this video, I'd like to just go through the books that we have chosen for 2020 to read in our mystery book club. We try to pick from various subgenres of mystery, and so rather than go January to December, I'm going to group them by type, but we try to alternate and not read all of one group all in a row and so forth, because that way it breaks it up just a little bit. We did, however, for January and February, read 2 books in a row that were about law enforcement professionals. Not detectives per se, but professionals in some type of law enforcement. So for January, we read a book that was actually not the first in a series. Normally we try to pick first in series books, but this particular time we did not, and I think it turned out okay. We read Almost Midnight by Paul Dwarin. This series is about a game warden named Mike Bowditch from Maine, and it was a very interesting story. There was a good bit of foul language, which you guys know I'm not a fan of, but I thought the story was interesting. It got a little complicated at times with the different characters, and I would be interested to go back and read some of the earlier books in the series. Overall, I think most of the people from the book club enjoyed it, and I am interested to read and try out some other series that have some similar type of law enforcement officers. I believe there's a series by C.J. Box that has a game warden maybe, or some type of ranger, and I think Nevada Bar has a series. So these are other books along those same lines that I have had recommended to me, but this was the one that we read, and I'm glad that we read it. For February, we read a book about a county sheriff. Now, you may be familiar with the Longmire series by Craig Johnson because it's a popular TV show. It is on Netflix. I believe it started out on the A&E network. And my husband and I watched some of the TV show first before starting the books. And the TV show and the books are the same but different. The personalities of some of the characters are different, and There is at least one or two characters in the show that are non-existent in the books, at least not in the first two books, which are the only ones that we have read so far. But I did enjoy the series. I would definitely continue with the TV show and possibly a few more of the book series. It is a well-loved series by booktuber Liz Schubert, who I believe is from that area of the country. So it is definitely a series that's worth checking out, and it kind of has a cowboy Wild West feel, but it's modern day. There are also several Native American characters, one in particular who is best friends with Sheriff Longmire, and so it's definitely a series that's worth checking out, and I think most of the people in our book club enjoyed it. The book that we're reading right now has a character who is sort of in law enforcement and is getting paid for it, but I don't know if you would call her a professional. We picked this book because we had a request from at least one or two of the members that we pick at least one book for the year that was rather humorous. So the book that we are discussing in July is One for the Money by Janet Ivanovich. This is about Stephanie Plum, who is a brand new bounty hunter, and it does have its humorous moments. It's a style of humor that I'm not a big fan of. It takes place in New Jersey, so from what I understand, this contains maybe some stereotypical New Jersey type characters. And again, this series is well loved by many people. It was recommended to me originally by my sister-in-law several years ago, and I did read the first two books back then, and I decided that it was maybe not the perfect series for me, but I did go back this month and listen to a 3-hour abridged version just to kind of refresh myself on it, and I remembered why I didn't really care for it. One particular moment that comes to mind is when someone used the F word with God, and I do not like that at all. That really bothered me. So things like that I'm not a fan of at all, but I can definitely see why people find this funny. There are some funny moments, and I can definitely see why this is a popular series, but like I said, for me, it's not really my type of book. So that's a good segue into cozy mysteries, because some people might consider that to be a cozy mystery of sorts. And earlier in the year, we read Buried in a Bog by Sheila Connolly. We read this for March because it takes place in Ireland. It's about a young American woman who goes to Ireland because on her grandmother's deathbed, she told her she wanted her to go. So when she gets there, she discovers that her grandmother has left some things there for her, and she also discovers a mystery. So she ends up staying, and the series goes from there. I have read the first two of those now. I've listened to them on audio, and it is a series that I might continue, although I've mentioned in previous videos that the narrator of the series makes the main character seem rude. And I know it's the narrator because most of the people I've discussed this with who read it in print say that they didn't get that impression at all. So, you know, I don't have time to read them in print. If I continue with the series, it will definitely be on audio, and I will just have to deal with the fact that she sounds rude, and that'll have to be okay. The next cozy mystery that we read was for May, and it was State of the Onion by Julie Heisey. This is book 1 in the White House Chef mystery series, and I loved this. This was such a fun book. I was pulled in from the beginning. I think I read this in 3 days, and that's in print. I did not have an audio for this, and for me to read a print book of any substantial length in 3 days means that it really pulled me in. So I thoroughly enjoyed this. I definitely want to read more. I do own the first 6 of these, but we all loved them so much that I've been loaning them out to the other members of the book club because almost everyone in the book club wanted to read more. So this is really fun. Once I get my copies back, then I'll be able to read more of them myself. But meanwhile, I'm excited to tell you how much I loved this one. The book's main character is a young woman who, at the time the series starts, she is the assistant executive chef of the White House. And the thing that I think is really good about this series is that there's not really any party politics involved. It wouldn't matter if you are Democrat or Republican. We never know the party of the current president. So that makes it more accessible for any reader, and I think that's a wonderful way to handle this type of book. So I highly recommend that you check it out if you like cozy mysteries at all. I would have to say that of all the cozy mysteries I have ever read or series that I've tried, I think this has moved to the top of the list. Another cozy mystery that we are reading later in the year for September is by Paige Shelton. She has several cozy mystery series, and I have not read anything by her yet, but we are reading the first book in a food-centric mystery series. It's called If Fried Chicken Could Fly, and one of our members picked this out because she was looking for something with recipes in it, and so we agreed that we would try it out. It sounded like a lot of fun, and so that's what we're reading for September. I don't know anything about it other than the fact that it does contain recipes and it has something to do with food. For August, we are reading a book by Amanda Flower, who is known for her Amish cozy mysteries. This is an Amish-themed book, but judging by the cover, I'm not sure how cozy it's going to be. The series is called Appleseed Creek Mysteries, and right now there are 4 in the series. The first one is A Plain Death, and we are going to be reading this for August. I have read one of her Amish candy shop mysteries that I really enjoyed, and she also writes under another name, Isabella Allen, and under that name she wrote the Amish quilt shop mysteries, and I have read all of those. So I'm quite sure that I will enjoy this book, but I don't know anything about the premise. I'm just going to be going in blind. All I can tell you is that it is an Amish themed mystery book. For thrillers this year, we read in March The Lion Game by Ruth Ware. I did a read-along of this for March Mystery Madness, and I did not enjoy this book. If you have any thoughts on this book, the threads are still there on the Mystery Madness Goodreads group because I had several people that read this with me. And if you want to add to that discussion, I would more than welcome that. And I just did not enjoy the characters. I could not get behind them. I had a hard time relating to any of them, and as I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm very character driven, and if I don't like the characters, I have a hard time enjoying the book. So this is one of those modern day thrillers that I mentioned in my previous video, that there's just too much foul language and unlikable characters, and I'm just not a fan of that type of book in general, and so as a result I did not care for The Lion Game either. Another thriller that we read just last month is All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. I've only read about half of this so far, and I do intend to go back and finish it, hopefully within the next few days. And this one I think I do like a little better than The Lion Game. Still though, unreliable narrator. Most of the characters here are not very likable. It is hard to find someone to get behind and root for, but I do think that I enjoyed at least what I've read of this so far a little better than some of the other modern day thrillers that I've read. The thing that's different about this book is it's told in reverse. There are 15 days, and it goes from day 15 down to day 1, and so that makes it kind of unique. So I am excited to go back and read the rest of this. As I recall from our book club meeting, about half liked it and the other half didn't really care for it, and I'll probably fall somewhere in the middle. For October, we're going to be reading a historical mystery, and I have not read this yet. I do own a copy of it, but it doesn't have a dust jacket, so I will put up a picture for you of this book. It's The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. This book is set in 1327, and I don't know that I've ever read a book from the 1300s. I want to say I'm excited about it, but I'm not sure that I am. I'm a little nervous about this one. I don't know what I'm going to think about it. I am going to definitely do my best to read it. I don't know if I will be able to get it on audio. It is a bit of a chunker, but I will definitely give it a shot and get through it one way or the other. So if you've ever read this, let me know what you thought about it. Our leader of our other book club has read this and loves it. She highly recommended it. So I'm going on her recommendation, and I'm hoping that I'm going to enjoy it. And for November, we're going to be reading our classic, And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I have read this before. I really enjoyed it. I think this book is mind-blowing. I will probably read it again just to refresh myself before it's time for our club meeting in November, and I'm looking forward to it. I think this book is such a classic mystery, and if you've never read it, then I would recommend it. Like I said, it is mind-blowing. And then, as I mentioned in my previous video about book club, our two book clubs meet together in December and read the same book. So for this year, we're reading The Christmas Train by David Baldacci. It's a good mix of adventure with a little bit of mystery, a little bit of romance, and it takes place at Christmas time on a train, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I've listened to it before. I will probably listen to it again, and I think it's a very good choice for both of the clubs for the month of December. So that is everything that my mystery book club is reading for 2020, and I would love to hear if you have read any of these books, or if you plan to read any of these books and you want to comment about them below. I would love to chat about them with you. So that's all I have for this video. I hope you are having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.